As you think about developing strategy and maybe even setting up some early pilot tests related to Web3 and the metaverse, who do you think should be involved in that, in the company? It seems to me like there's a risk, right? If you say this is just the CTO's project and, the CTO and her colleagues are thinking about it, or this is just the CMO's project. But who do you think needs to get involved at this point?
Well, you need a vision. You need to really bring the business leaders together and think about what the business would look like based on what we've seen so far, where the investment is going, where the venture capital is going, where the big tech firms are putting their money, and make some, rational guesses around the areas to enter first. Many companies are looking at training, workforce training. The pandemic has accelerated and in some cases just totally codified remote work. And it is now just, as opposed to something you do on Fridays, it is part of the operating model, the permanent operating model of the company, which warrants investment, large investment to optimize this remote workforce. And in some cases, these types of technologies will allow for a more collaborative working arrangement than sitting in cubicles, losing productivity during commute times, limited connectivity via phone and video conference, but a much more immersive experience in some cases. It does not replace the relationships that you can build in a physical setting, but those can be more targeted. The physical settings can be, you can invest in much richer, more meaningful physical gatherings with the workforce, and use these much more immersive virtual technologies to collaborate in a way that allows the workforce to be more flexible, to not lose time in driving to an office. So, these types of conversations are what is, we're seeing is, kind of the initial phases of the meta. Of course, this is much bigger than that. Training is an early example because we have the technology today, right now, at a reasonable cost to immerse the workforce in training programs in a virtual reality setting that are more interesting. They're potentially more effective than reading off of a website or watching videos. So it's a it's a step-by-step process. Eventually, you'll see finance move online. You'll see the ability to go shopping, to have a digital twin of yourself to try on clothes, to see how they look on your avatar, to make those purchases with and the retailers will begin to establish their operating models and their e-commerce models around this new type of interaction with the customer. That's a little bit further down the line. In an engineering setting, being able to collaborate with fellow engineers and designers around the world on machine parts or engines or manufacturing methods. Those are potentially more effective and will be more productive than the real thing for certain applications. So, those are some of the early kind of test cases that you're seeing in this metaverse. But it's still very early days. There are inventions that haven't been made yet. There are the cost of some of these technologies are still quite high. They will come down just like everything else does as it's adopted. And the companies that are setting the pace are the companies that do have the leadership. It's not necessarily the CTO. It sometimes is, but it's the executive leadership of the businesses that are looking forward at how their businesses will change.